Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rod Night Podcast. Thank you all for being with us as we try and spend an hour talking about that game on Tuesday. That's going to be very difficult because nothing happened until injury time. So we will do our best. We'll find something Rotherham United related to talk about. Thankfully, there is another game to talk about on Saturday, which does help the situation. But it's mainly a drab 0-0 draw at home to Mansfield to cover, which should be a right laugh. Mick, first of all, how are you doing?
Yeah, I've just about woke up, I think. Just.
Yeah, me too. Danny's back as well. How are you doing, Danny?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice to have a day off at the minute, if I'm being honest.
Oh, if only. People are with us in the comments. Martin Horn, YouTube user Stephen Mick, Paula Rhodes, another day, another injury list. Richard the Miller's with us, Dave Lawton. Bricktop's as high as 5 steps back. Chris Tether, Gareth Stevenson said, evening all, it's looking bad. David Rimmer says, good evening, sits right behind the corner flag, nailed on pen, and the one earlier of handball. Could have had a couple. Let's just kind of sum up thoughts and feelings post-game, Mick. We've had time to kind of sleep on it and think about it a little bit more. Any more feelings on it?
I forgot all about it, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
It's almost as if we didn't play this week. Yeah, there were flashes. There were flashes of some decent play, but in the main, all in the midfield area, none anywhere near penalty area, unfortunately. Lacked cutting edge again, didn't create anything. Apart from that, no, I've got no else. No else at all. Anyway, it's been nice. I'll see you on Sunday.
Make sure like, subscribe. See you next time. Yeah. Everybody says better performance, no end result, but we didn't lose. Yeah, and it feels like a missed opportunity, Danny, because they are in a terrible run of form as well. But maybe because of the future games, maybe it's because we're looking ahead as well. 4 points from 2 games is a pretty good result. If we average 2 points a game for the rest of the season, we're going to be absolutely fine. I think it's just the frustration of the upcoming games, plus the fact Mansfield were in a huge dip of form.
Yeah, they hadn't won in 8, was it? Well, 9 now, or something like that.
Yeah.
So they were there for the taking, but I suppose when you can't win, don't lose, and that's one slight positive you can spin on it. But from my perspective, from not being at the game, it's just all right, that's happened. I don't know what it was like actually at the game, but from watching the highlights back, it looked like it was Mansfield's game to begin with, and then ours in the early second half, and then just a bit all over the place towards the end of the game. And like you said, 4 points from 2 is not bad in our position, but going into the run of games we've got coming up, you would have liked more of a bounce rather than a drab 0-0 on a Tuesday night, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And maybe the frustration, even more frustration, is the performance against Plymouth. You know, we only won 1-0, but we all know it was a really good performance against Plymouth, and we didn't really back up. Look, it was a better performance than Bradford, better performance than a second half against Don. It was better than a lot of other performances this season, but it wasn't really a backing up of the Plymouth performance, was it?
Not even close. No, there were, like I said, there were a few spells of 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there, where particularly in first half at the beginning, where we were on top and we were the better side, but we never really created anything again. We've gone back to that sort of very little goalmouth action at either end, to be fair. They probably had the clearer cut chances or the most dangerous chances. I don't. Did we have any?
Matt, I'm sure said one were cleared off the line. But I don't remember
that. Might have been James's one. I mean, it wasn't on the line, and the defender got lucky, but it could be that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, we didn't really look like scoring, did we?
No.
And that's the real worry. So and I don't know where it's going to change. I genuinely don't. So
no Josh Benson on Tuesday. I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, absolutely.
We'll come on to that. Matt the Miller says, interesting. The podcast uses the word curse. Curse is more the bad luck it implies, deliberate intent to cause trouble. Look, Mike, none of us know. Somebody may well have put a curse on Rotherham United. None of us know. I mean, it's unlikely. I agree, Mike. It's probably quite unlikely that the football club is actually cursed. But we can't make that assumption. We've got to take that as a possibility.
I mean, with the injury list we've had this season at multiple times and the current form, should we just get some incense around the New York Stadium just to try anything to make him results improve?
What's the worst that could happen? You know what I mean? Let's just try everything. Let's try literally everything.
Burns it down. That's a proper sign of it.
Well, that's right. Yeah, that'd be worse. Harry says if that was 5 games ago, I think we'd have probably been happy with the point. I think that's possibly right. I think maybe another thing that feeds into it, Danny, is that we are right in it. 5 or 6 games ago, we were in trouble, but we weren't deep in the relegation zone, cut adrift. We now, as fans, I certainly feel like we are right in this. A month ago, we weren't in it, so a point looks better because of everything else, because of that situation. But when you are already 3 points adrift, another reason for it to feel like another missed opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if we'd got 3 points out of that game, we would have been even more in it, well, slightly out of it on goal difference. But even with how awful we've been at times and how flat results have been, we're still sort of clinging on by our fingertips to the top of the line. Is it 2 points away or something like that? And there's like 7 teams all mixed up in it. I mean, clip this if you want to, but I think Port Vale might have gone unless there's an absolute miracle. But the other 7 that are involved, it's still so tight. So one bad result, one good result swings it either way. I mean, look at Donny. We thought Donny were gone, and suddenly they've climbed out here and sitting 18th, I think they are, at the minute, because they've got a little bit of a run together. Do we have that capability? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But like the comment said there, 5 games ago, we'd be happy with a point on a Tuesday night because it kept us in the fray. Whereas now on the back of Plymouth, it feels like you say, Matt, a missed opportunity. We could have built on it. We could have got 6 from 2 and been right in it and given Huddersfield a good go with a lot of confidence. Whereas now, with the injuries we've picked up, with the performance against Mansfield, how will that play into the players' mindset going into Saturday with it being an early kickoff? So sort of everyone's watching you because you're on early. It's a missed opportunity for points, but also improved mentality. I think it's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, early kickoff would have been another chance to put pressure on everybody else. If we won Tuesday, picked up something on Saturday, everybody else is kind of thinking, geez, Rotherham picked up 7 points here, or 9 points, whatever the case may be. If you somehow win 3 in a row, now it's kind of everybody's thinking that, they didn't win, they've missed an opportunity. Chris says his bookies have us down at 1-5. Yeah, possibly. Let's just dive into the moment of the game, which was the penalty incident, the non-penalty incidents at the end. We'll come on to kind of what happens next to Rotherham United and everything else. We're not going to ignore that, but let's just kind of deal with the game first. Deal with the first one, Mick, the one where Sam Nombe gets a foul given against him. Having looked back at it, it's difficult to see whether it's in the area or not. It's difficult, but it probably is just outside. But for Sam Nombe to get given a foul against him is almost as bad as the second one not being given as a penalty, to be honest with you. It's an absolute rotten decision.
It's remarkable, isn't it? You've got 2 officials there within 5 or 10 yards of it, and I can't. I've watched it and watched it and watched it, and I genuinely have no understanding whatsoever how that could possibly be a foul to them. None at all. I've been watching football 50 odd years, and I don't understand. I genuinely don't. I can't. There is no contact.
No.
There's nothing. There's nothing at all. The only contact is when the player kicks the floor. I don't think it's in penalty area. I don't think it's handball in penalty area. But it's either a corner or a handball. The only thing it isn't is a foul by Sam Nombe. The only thing it isn't. It's a free kick outside box, which is then going to go into side netting or out for a throw in at other end. So ultimately, that's not relevant. But this is where we are with football at the moment, isn't it? I watched a little bit of the Newcastle Man U game last night, And as soon as a player touches another player's back and they throw themselves on the floor and the referees buy it every time, I can't watch it anymore. I just can't watch it anymore. It's just, but that was a perfect example. It was exactly the same thing. It must be a foul. It must be a foul because he's throwing himself on the floor. Is essentially how it looks. Well, it's not how it looks. It's how it is. So anyway, not a foul. In a million years, it's not a foul. I don't think it's a penalty. No. I don't think the ball's in area, but
yeah, it was poor. It was very, very poor. Scott Kent says first one never a pen, but second one a stone wall. But like Mick says, if the foul's not given, something else happens. Whether it's a corner or some ball says whatever the case may be, there's no foul. Something else is then created. That foul stops anything else happening, which stops an opportunity being created deep into injury time. The second incident, Danny, the actual penalty incident, which is bounced up. I mean, I feel sorry for the defender. You've got to feel sorry for him. That ball's took a really weird bounce. Whether it had spin in it or something, I don't know. That ball has took a wicked bounce. But you can't have your arm out here. Where am I? You can't have your arm out here. It hit it and it not be a penalty. It's a horrible decision. A horrible. And I don't know whether the refs bottled it, the linos bottled it, refs not seen it and linos not helped him. Just a shocker. And it's a huge one for our season as well. We get that score, it's a different game.
I agree. I think, well, under the circumstances of what's happened with the ball, like you said, his arm is completely out of the line of his body. That is not a natural position whatsoever. By that letter of the law, it is a stonewall penalty. But from watching it back on the highlights, because the highlights didn't show the first one with Sam Nombe, interestingly, make of that what you will, but they showed this one. And my initial reaction was, "Oh, that's a bit of an unlucky bounce," because the defender quite clearly has no idea what's going on. The ball is just bouncing around, but there's no way the referees made that split-second decision of that's not a penalty. You don't know what he's doing. The split-second decision is hit his hand, and it's a penalty because he's like I say, his arm's out here. And so by that ruling, it's a penalty, and it's a stonewall penalty at that. And I personally think the ref bottled it. Maybe the lino was blocked by some players. I don't know. People who sit in the family stand on that side, let us know, was it a clear line of sight with the players on that side, etc. But from that angle that the referee's got it, he has to give a penalty or else he's bottled it completely. We could discuss it until counts come home about how the defender has no idea that he's actually come up and hit him, and therefore there's reasonable doubt, blah, 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 which is what VAR's for. But we don't have that. The referee has to make that split-second decision, and in my opinion, he's bottled it because it should be a penalty. Would it be a harsh decision? Yes, because the player has no idea what's going on.
That's irrelevant.
Exactly. It's irrelevant, so therefore it is a penalty. But the referee's bottled the decision, so we've not had one.
No. Chris Pace, if we go down the standard of this league, it will be epic fail. Bottle job. Harry thinks it hit both arms.
I thought it
did initially. I'm not sure on the second viewing. But Dave Lawrence says lucky penalties win games. He wouldn't have minded that. Scott Kent says the second one with the mind blown. Even the lino flagged and said something into his mic. Was that about the pen or the foul on Biancheri? The only thing that the referee could have thought is that the bounce up was kind of off his body. And if it bounced off your body onto your arm, then it's not a penalty because it bounced off another body part. That's the law.
But it bounced
that isn't what happened, though. Well, that's what. But does the referee? I'm trying to give the referee something here. I don't believe this, but I'm trying to give the referee the benefit of the doubt. Does the referee think the bounce is so weird that it must have come off his thigh and bounced onto his arm? Because he can't have missed the handball. Like nobody could miss that. That's impossible not to miss it. Bearing in mind where the ball went, you couldn't have missed it. Both of them couldn't have missed it, should I say? That is the only thing I can think, Mick, that can. But it doesn't make it right. But that's the only half defence I can give him.
The referee waved it away straight away. If memory serves me, he did the arm. Knocked someone over. He did the arms business.
Mick's so annoyed at this decision, he's breaking his arms.
I don't know. It's just either the referee or the linesman spineless. It's last minute a game. 9 minutes at game. We're well into deep into injury time. Now I can't get a penalty now. That can't happen, and that's the only reason. That's the only explanation, because it's not acceptable. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough. Yeah, that's it. That's it. There's no else. There's no point, is there?
No,
there's no point getting frustrated and angry about it. You do it. You get angry about it at the time. You have to walk away, because we've got what we've got in terms of the level of officiating. Sometimes it's good. A lot of the times it's not good. But it's the big decisions. It's the big decisions that are the issue.
Yeah, look, we're a club that's in a fight in a really tough position, and if we go down, I'm sure we'll deserve to go down. But if we go down by a couple of points, this moment will be this, as it looks now, a huge moment in the season. You get a penalty which you probably score, because what's 80% conversion rate, all penalties, you probably score it. You're out of the relegation zone. It's a huge moment, a really, really big moment.
It is, but it won't be the reason we go down.
No, I just said that.
Yeah.
Come on, stop arguing, mate. God, grow up. Everyone in the ground, so it says Dave Lawton. So the second one, no excuse. Martin Miller says ref's view may have been blocked. He says it was 5 yards away. Clear view of his apparent offence. It was his call. And what I would say, sometimes you get linos who don't like putting their flags up. He loved putting his flag up, as the Sam Nombe foul proves. He gave the Sam Nombe foul.
Yeah, did, yeah.
It wasn't the ref that gave it. Lino couldn't wait to wave his flag. So he obviously wasn't one of those lines that was scared of getting involved. Just bad. Just really, really poor. But what are you going to do? Sit and cry? We did that, so we'll try something else. Dave Lawton says it might be if 2 points would keep us up. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but there's been plenty of 2 points dropped all season. Bolton away, for example. There's been a few. So we can't just focus on stuff like that. That's outside our control as a team, as a club. You can't legislate for. Let's be kind and say people making mistakes.
Being kind.
I am being kind, because I know Mike will tell me off if I'm not. But yeah, what can you do? What can you do?
Not much. There's not much else to talk about the game, Danny. But I think we're going to talk about Ted Can probably quite a lot in the next few weeks, for one reason or another. 3 games, 1 goal conceded, which was the Bradford goal, which he couldn't do anything about. He certainly couldn't have done anything about that. He made a stop in the first half, which was a brilliant stop, a really, really top draw stop. I was worried about him coming in. I thought he was just kind of put in to kind of show Dawson who was boss a little bit with Matt Hampshire, which I agreed with. But I was worried that he was going to be inexperienced. His handling in the not Papa John's, whatever it's called, games were questionable for me. I was really concerned that it just wasn't up to the job. Couldn't have been further from the truth. He's looked assured. He's looked confident. His shot stopping showing that Tuesday he's come in there. It looks like early days, but it looks like we're going to have another proper keeper on our hands there.
Yeah, I mean, I shared the same worries as you as well. I thought when he came in for Dawson, it was a bit of a, I'm sure, saying, no, you've done crap there, son. Out you go. We're sending young one in because you're that bad. But no, he has. He's really stepped up. Like I said with the Bradford goal, couldn't really do much about that. But certainly for Mansfield and Plymouth, he's really stepped up and he's pulled off some really good saves. Because is he only 19, 20?
No, he's more than that. 20. He's actually about 24, I think.
Oh, is he?
He's just not played many games. He played 6 senior games before us.
Ah, right.
So.
Right, okay. But even with that, the inexperience was a worry, regardless of how old he is. But like I said, he stepped up, pulled off some smart saves. There was one moment where it was a little bit hair-raising, where there was about 3 defenders all looking at the ball and he's come charging out to try and punch it. And it's like, could have done with staying at home there. But, they all have mad moments, goalkeepers, don't they? But I think we were so hardwired to think that Dawson was our only option this season because of Ted Can's inexperience. Whereas now we've sort of been shown it's not that. I think he just sort of had to be ushered into the team with Dawson having a few stinkers recently. Well, I'll say recently, a few to his name. And no, he has it. He's come in and really commanded his box. He's commanded the back line. He's a lot bigger than Dawson is. Both, I think, are they the same height?
He isn't. He's smaller.
Really?
This was going to be my next point. He's 2 inches shorter, according to the internet.
He looks a lot. He commands the goal a lot more than he looks a lot taller than Dawson, which I suppose is a good thing. It's what you want from your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And I think now it's Dawson's shirt to win back. And if I'm being honest, I don't think he will. I think if Can continues on this vein of improvement and putting in strong performances, we'll see out the season with the number 1 shirt. He's done really, really well.
Yeah, to be fair, he's a goalkeeper and as a young goalkeeper, he's obviously going to make a mistake like Cam Dawson did. He should get the same amount of chances that Cam Dawson got, and Cam Dawson got a lot of chances. Just on that height thing, Mick, I was really surprised to see that Cam Dawson is taller than Ted Can. I don't know if it's the way he carries himself or what it is, but Ted Can has a presence about him, and that's massive for a goalkeeper. That's really, really important for a goalkeeper. I think Victor's a really good example of this. When Victor first came in, there wasn't much of a presence about him. He looked small. He looked like a young kid. And he grew into a presence. When by the time Victor left, he looked like an absolute giant of a man on the pitch. And Ted Can has started with, he looks like a goalkeeper. He's got that height, he's got that build, he's got that presence about him that you don't seem to be able to buy. Because if you could, Cam Dawson would have developed that over the years. I'm really impressed with the presence he's got about him. Yeah,
presence is a good word. It's a good word. I think I said on the last podcast, he kind of, the way he holds himself, the way that his presence is similar to that of Victor. You know, it doesn't appear to be the biggest player on the pitch. You know, he doesn't appear to be that tall, to me anyway. But he commands his area, he's confident. He's got a lot to learn. I say he's got a lot to learn. 24, you know, he's starting to come into his prime, but he's experience-wise, he's lacking. So we'll have to wait and see. It's been a promising start for him. A promising start. You know, he's conceded 1 goal, which he couldn't really do anything about. So, he's been very good. And that was a really, really good save. Really good save.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, before anybody starts, we're not comparing him with Victor. We're just using his example.
No.
We've got a long way to go before that. But he spoke well as well. Did the pre-match presser today and spoke pretty well about it, about kind of what he expected pre-season, and where he's coming to now. And it was also, I thought it was interesting. You watch where we sit in the family stand. It's quite easy to watch the bench. Warrington talks to him a lot. Obviously, it's obviously long distance, but there's a constant communication with Warrington and Cam. I never really see that with Cam Dawson. I might have missed it. I've never noticed it with Cam Dawson and Warrington. So that struck me as interesting. Bear in mind the relationship that Warrington had with Marek Rodak, Victor, Josh Vickers as well. Warrington's a very good coach and a very good identifier of goalkeepers, and obviously Ted Can is one that I think he would have helped sign. Scott Kent says Dawson doesn't say that on Tuesday, which I agree with. He's not done that. Paul Rose says I got him to sign a card for someone on Saturday, and he looked way taller than Cam. Yeah. Joe Stone says when he ran out, I said he's done Dawson. Yeah, he did come out and get giddy once, didn't he? To be fair, but he sorted it properly. He sorted the situation out. So let's see what happens. He's going to ask his goalkeeper, so he's obviously going to make mistakes. Harry's saying that the club's website is saying he's 6'7". The internet's been wrong before, so the internet may well be wrong again.
No, you're joking. I believe everything I read on internet.
Do you?
No.
Anyway, moving on. Injuries, Danny. They are back. I wouldn't say back with a vengeance, but they are absolutely back. Drew Yearwood went off injured. He overstretched in the first half, very obviously. Zach Jules went off injured as well. Matt Hamshaw is saying that one of them is a long-term injury. Won't tell us which. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Dan Gore's a doubt for the weekend. Josh Benson's a doubt for the weekend, although I think he's more likely to come back into the squad than anybody else. Adam Eger's a doubt. Who else is a doubt? Come on, guys. Help me out here.
Spence.
Spencer's out. Denzel Hall's out.
Douglas, Hugo,
James
obviously.
Douglas as well. Lino Souza might be injured. I have no idea. He's just disappeared off the face of the earth. But yeah, injuries are back. One position that was once looking so fruitful now looks absolutely decimated in the central midfield. We've definitely got Liam Kelly and Sean McWilliams. Anything else on top of that is a little bit of a bonus, and that is a massive concern.
What's the issue with Dan Gore?
Ankle knock. It didn't sound serious, so either way, I think he'll be in the squad.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember he's not our player, and that'll play a part in any decision making as well. He's a loanee. But yeah, it's bad, Danny.
It's like a revolving door. We just think in fact, no, it's not. It's like a hedge maze. We just think we're getting to the end, and then one false move, and we've completely lost it again. I suppose with Gore and Benson, I mean, I'm reading on the Advertiser's article that Benson's a tight calf, which I suppose is recoverable between Tuesday and Saturday. So, that's quite promising. But with Gore, if it's an ankle knock, he, like you say, he might be in the squads, but it's kind of at our discretion and at Man United's discretion whether or not to see it. But I don't think Man United have as much of a tight leash on how clubs treat their loan players as, say, Everton did with Martin Sharif. So they might go, you know what, you do what you think's best and we'll monitor the situation from afar. But again, we'll have to wait and see with it. If those two are starting or in the squad fit, at least it's a bit of a healthier outlook. But we'll have to see how they recover. I mean, with Benson, he's sometimes feels like he's made of glass, so I don't know. But out of the two, he sounds more like he's going to start, and maybe he swaps it out for Gore so he can rest his ankle, and that gets treated throughout the game. Anyway, we'll see. And then they're saying that Adebayo is the closest to a comeback out of the rest of the injury list. Yeah. So again, maybe it's a starting berth on the bench for him. But if you're saying that Yearwood's overstretched, and I think it looked like with Jules, I mean, on the highlights, it showed how he actually picked up the injury. He jumped over their player and pulled something. It pulled up straight away. So if Yearwood's overstretched, maybe that's recoverable, with muscle injuries. If you're overstretched and you don't use the muscle as much, you might recover in time. But if you've tweaked something, I think Jules could be the longer term out of the two.
Thanks, gone. Yeah, it is because Yearwood carried on, didn't he?
Yeah,
he didn't go off straight away. But then that sometimes makes it worse, doesn't it? How many times have you seen that where you play and you make things worse for yourself? It'd be a shame. I'm not sure which a bit more shameful. Probably Yearwood, Mick, because for the first 15-20 minutes but Danny's back. How you doing, Danny? Is he back? No. If it's Yearwood, Mick, that'd be a blow because him and Gore for 10-15 minutes that first half were really good. I said to you, it was working really, really well for that first period of the game. So it'd be a real shame if it was to be Yearwood out for, even a couple of games.
Yeah, it would. It would. He's been outstanding the last couple of games. We just have to wait and see. We've got with no information, have we? So no reliable information anyway. So we'll just wait and see what's said. As for the two, Jules looked to be the more injured of the two. He was struggling, really struggling.
But he tried to carry on as well, didn't he? Which again,
but he couldn't move. No. And that could have cost us. To be fair, that was a poor decision.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how it is. I'd be really disappointed if Drew Yearwood's out any more than a couple of games or a game at the most, because he's been really important. And him and Dan Gore worked really, really well in that first half together, I thought. Yeah. You mentioned that to me at the time. You wouldn't have thought that they'd be particularly compatible in that midfield area, but they were. And they linked up really, really, really well. So fingers crossed that Yearwood's not going to be out for too long.
It was kind of a 4-2-3-1. I think it's what the kids nowadays call a double pivot, I think.
Oh, double pivot. Yeah.
Double pivot, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good. They aren't on these levels, but I remember when England at the Euros in 2021, you got Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice kind of was two sitting midfielders, and it was excellent. It was really good, and that's kind of what it reminded me of 15 minutes. It didn't carry on for much more than that,
No.
but it did really work really nicely for that period as well. So. Mark Gamble says, which has the better record, our squad this season of injuries or Danny's Wi-Fi?
My Wi-Fi is more recoverable than some of our players.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. John Davis, right, says Joe Powell might be back. I think the noises are very positive about Joe Powell. Obviously, time will tell. Hampshire, it makes these pre-match press conferences almost completely pointless because he doesn't give us any information. On purpose, so it makes them. I don't know why we bother doing them, but we do them anyway. That's where we are, where he is. Let's touch on some of the January transfer signings, Danny. Lino Souza and Biancheri in particular, I think worth mentioning. I don't want to dive too deep into negativity at the minute, but he was kind of singing the praises of the club, and the club is singing the praises of Matt Hamshaw on deadline day for being able to sign these great young players. And he isn't using them at all. I don't know if Lino Souza is injured or not. He's not getting. I don't think he was in the squad on Tuesday from my memory.
I thought he was on bench on Tuesday, but
I'll check. But Biancheri, Danny, is an odd one because he was hyped up. He was really, really hyped up in the January window, and not getting the sniff. He's getting 5 minutes at the end. He's getting injury time and things like that. And bear in mind that Nombe is not playing particularly well. It seems a bit of a surprise that he's not getting more game time.
Yeah, well, we kind of did discuss this a little bit. We thought he'd be playing second fiddle to Harry Gray, being the young centre forward type. But like you say, maybe he doesn't want to risk two young, senior, inexperienced centre forwards together, and that's why Nombe's there. But at the same time, if your player's not playing well, even if you just shake it up from the start, and keep Nombe on the bench and bring him on later on, that can change a player's game. I mean, we've seen it with at times with Jordan Hugel, where he's had an absolute stinker of a game, and then the following game he's been on the bench and he's actually played quite well. But it's a shame with Souza as well. Maybe he's carrying something with an injury, I don't know, but he was hyped up as being a good signing, a little bit iffy on the injury record, but go figure. But it kind of feels like the players that we've signed to play wing backs now aren't getting a look in because we've moved away from playing wing backs. We've gone back to a more traditional back four, which is now playing to our benefit. So in that regard, it kind of feels like we've signed the wrong players, which is not a good look. Maybe he signed them so they get a look in when the inevitable injury crisis rears its head again, like we're seeing at the minute. But I don't know. And so I can't really comment about those players and how well they've performed just because we've not seen enough of them, which is actually a real shame because they were hyped up to be good signings. So I don't know. Maybe we see, is it Biancheri? How do you say his name?
Biancheri, I think.
Biancheri. Maybe we see a bit more of him in the coming games. But then again, we've had this big run and we've still not seen them. So where will we see them? Will it be an injury to Nombe, potentially? Will Gray get taken out of the firing line because he's not hitting target as much? I don't know. And it's not a good look for a podcast either, saying I don't know. But I honestly don't know where these players will fit into it now because we've kind of got certain positions locked in. And if they're only getting 5 minutes, it's not really worth them coming here because they did expect him to play in at least a full half, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you'd assume so. And for us, Mick, that even if Man U said, I'm one season, he can be a 10-minute, 5-minute player for the rest of the season. What use is that to us, really? That's no use to us as a football club. He's taking up a squad space. He's taking up not a massive wage, probably, but still he's taking up a wage that could have been spent elsewhere. He's not helping the football club at the minute, and I don't think that's Biancheri's fault.
No, it's definitely not. And I suspect one of the reasons he's here is because we weren't anticipating being in this position, and it would have given us a little bit more latitude to play him. But we're in a position where every game's a must-win game now. Whether the manager's in a position or as the the inclination to include a player of his age in a squad in a team that's got to win games. I don't know. Are you going to put that trust in a 17-year-old? He's doing it with Harry Gray, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I've no idea. Obviously, we can only speculate, can't we? But it looks bright when he's come on. He looked bright for the few minutes he were on Tuesday night. He didn't have any problem mixing it with their big defenders whatsoever.
Took a couple of big hits, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, and he got himself got his elbows out. So, he needs some more game time because we do need something. We need some creativity in that final third. And Sam Nombe is great. He's strong and he's quick. Creativity is not really his thing. Harry Gray tries hard to be creative, but he's still got a lot to learn. He's still running into blind alleys. He's still sort of he's still getting old man by these defenders at this point. So don't know. I don't know where we're going to go with that.
He's getting stuck down that left-hand side as well, Harry. Constantly on the left-hand side. He needs to, because he is much better. Whenever he drifts in the centre, he can impact the game a little bit more. He needs to stop doing that, which is what I'm just talked about. Harry says, can we talk about Sam Nombe? Something seems very off with him. He looks like a passenger. Yeah, a couple of games now, Danny has not really been himself. I thought this against Plymouth, and I just kind of ignored it a little bit. But Tuesday, it was miles off it again. And with a fit raring to go for Sam Nombe, he's one of the best strikers in the league, but he's off it. And I don't know whether that's because Sam Nombe's got his eye on the summer for a January transfer move, or whether he's just played too many games in such a short space of time and he's just tired. I think he's played every 90 minutes, in this 6-game run. But it's a concern if you're not getting the best out of Sam Nombe, the team lacks a little bit of edge everywhere else.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's one or two options. It's either his agent's gelling him up for a move in the summer, which I think undoubtedly we're all very wary of and probably think is going to happen. But secondly, since he's come back from, what was it, his second injury this season? Because he had the big injury and then the little injury, and now he's back. Yeah. Like I say, maybe it's just fatigue, because he has played every single game since he's come back since then. And maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's the big run, or maybe his eye's just off the ball because he's got one eye on the summer. That's something only known to Sam Nombe or whoever the leak is inside the club that seems to know who we're signing 6 months in advance of who we're actually signing. But with Nombe, it's a shame because when he has played prior to this little sticky run that he's in, he has been a fantastic player. He's been a game changer. Before he got these big injury, there was a stat that he scored like every 80 minutes or something silly that he played. That's all took a big hit now. So for Rotherham United's sake, I hope he finds his way sooner rather than later. But also at the same time, the little bit of creeping doubt in my mind says he's lining up a move in the summer away somewhere else. And so he's focusing on that and not the fledgling club in the relegation zone, unfortunately.
Yeah. Dave Lawton's autocorrect's having a nightmare tonight, but we'll go with it, Dave. He says, no, Nombe isn't a passenger. He's grafting, but nothing to work off. Think back to Hugel and tell me Nombe is a passenger. That's a good point, Nick. I suppose if you're thinking about it that way, comparing to other players in the squad, it's not that he isn't trying. It's just he looks like 5-10% off where he has been previously, which is maybe unfair to criticise him for that, bearing in mind how good he has been.
Yeah, I think so. He's never been the saviour of Rotherham United, has he? He was kind of touted that way, but only because we didn't have anything at all up front. Anything.
True.
Not a thing. So on that basis, he probably was. But I agree with David to a degree. He's not getting the service. He's not getting the ball into feet. He's not getting the balls over the top to chase down. When he does get them, he's chasing them down and he's causing problems. But there's nobody. Nobody supporting him. It's he is off the pace a little bit, or he certainly was on Tuesday night. He was caught on his heels a few times, but I just think his performances are pretty much the same as the rest of the team, just not quite there. I think.
Yeah, agreed. Anything else on that game you want to talk about before we have a quick chat about Huddersfield and stuff? Not surprised. That was a good.
No.
That was what I
I
expected.
can't believe we got 40 minutes out of it, quite frankly.
No.
Yeah, can we have some sort of award ceremony for that, please?
Just a few bits on Huddersfield because we haven't had time to have a scouting report, but their recent run of form is average at best. They've got one win in their last 6 games in all competitions. In that time, they've lost to Wigan, Doncaster, and Stevenage in that 6-game run. So they're losing to bad teams, mate. This is built up as a really, really tough game. And I just feel they've got some really good players, and I really, really like Liam Manning as the manager. But this is another team. But this is the right time to play Huddersfield. They've just gone away to Wigan and lost 1-0 away at Wigan. They've lost 1-0 as so they obviously don't score very many, certainly in recent times. We shouldn't be building Huddersfield up for this. We should be building us up for this. We picked for 4 points from 2 games. We should be saying, right, let's go there. Let's go there and win. Let's go there and take game to them. Wigan obviously did it, and Donny obviously did it. Let's have a bash and see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. I know I'm going to eat my words, so I might, but I don't care. They strike me as another team, another one of these teams that are all style and no substance. A la Bolton, they're really good at playing pretty football, but realistically, most of the teams in this division are pretty much like us in final third. We're just slightly worse than everybody else in that final third. So no, we should be going there and we've got to give it a go. We're in absolute mire.
Yeah,
we need to be going there with all the determination in the world to put things right. The players have got to put this right. They are responsible. The players and the management team are responsible for the position that we are in. Tactically, Matt Amshaw's been naive for a lot of the season. Confidence-wise, the players have had virtually none all season. Desire and commitment, they've had not a great deal, just in patches. I want to see all those things put right. We've got 10, 12 games, 11 games, whatever it is left. Get it right. Because if you get it right, you'll stay up comfortably.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because the division, and I've said it and keep saying it, and somebody will pick me up on it, I know. It's garbage. The quality's terrible. And that is a sad indictment on the quality that this team has shown this season, because we are second bottom for a reason.
Yes, we are. Harris says, when was the last time we beat Huddersfield away? By my reckoning, it was 2015, I think. Carrie Anderson's last goal for the club in a 2-0 victory. Carrie Anderson and a Connor Salmon goal. You won't get 2 rarer goals for Rotherham United than those 2.
I can offer the specifics on this one if you like.
Great game. Go on.
So the last time we beat Huddersfield at all was the 15th of October 2022. The last time we beat Huddersfield away, are you ready for this? The 7th of March 2015.
Was. Gary Anderson,
hint.
Yeah, all right.
Saturday, 7th of March.
Very good. Yes, like it. Very much. We love a bit of football in symmetry. Day after Mick's birthday, we're gonna go to Huddersfield and win. Back on the game specifically now. I'm sure kind of said in his pre-match press. I didn't write the quote down, but it was something along the lines of, "If you don't, if the first job is to not lose." I just thought, don't say that. Why are you even saying that? Why are you even talking about a draw? With the situation we're in, it's vital we could be aggressive. It's vital we're on the front foot. Yeah, at the end of the day, if we get a draw, we accept a draw and we move on. But let's not. It almost feels like he's trying to set the groundwork for a draw 2 days before the game's even happened. It feels like negative thinking. I might be overthinking it, but it feels like negative thinking coming out from the presser.
You're overthinking it.
Gonna make.
You're overthinking that. They ain't going there for a draw. That is not. You don't. The professional people, they're here for the points. I mean, they haven't had the desire to get any of the points recently in the games that they played. So we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think they're. Of course, you don't want to lose. Of course, yeah. If you can't win, don't lose. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is essentially, I assume, what he's saying, rather than first job is not to lose. Well, it's not. First job's to win. Second job is not to lose. Makes the difference. It's all. Don't lose.
Win.
Yeah. I'm going to text him. I'm going to text him now, just saying, Matt, don't lose, win. There we go.
Scott Kent's with me. Thank you very much, Scott. He's picked up on that. He thinks he's going to go 5 at the back. We ain't got enough defenders to go 5 at the back. Unless Adebiega's back, we'll see. We'll see on that one. I'll have a quick brief chat in a minute about the playoffs shake-up coming up next season's championship because we've got time to fill. But on the positive side of things in player availability, I know Zach Jules is definitely out for Saturday. Danny might be out for longer, but he's definitely out for Saturday. The good thing is that Baptiste is a pretty good player. Lenny's been very, very good since he came in. Adebayo is very, very close. We have a little bit of flexibility in the defensive areas rather than midfield areas. So that's a slight glimmer of hope that Lenny, for example, has played last few games and done all right.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, with Jules, he's slightly more experienced than the other defenders that we've got, other than Rafferty. But if he's out, then I'm very happy with Baptiste going back there because he's colossal on his day as a centre half. Same with Adebayo, but I'm doubtful that he's going to start. If I'm being honest, I'm just kind of hoping that we don't stick with going back to a default of a back 5 because we want to get the draw. We need to try and win, and we have been more. What's the word? We've been more switched on, shall we say, with the back 4. Everyone seems to know what the job is with the back 4, but if we do a 5 or a 3 with wing backs, everyone sort of muddles it up somehow, and we seem a lot more open. But with the 4, everyone knows what they're doing, everyone's organised more, and I think it can more of a service to have the 4 in front of him rather than having to watch in his peripheral vision as well. But anyway, so I hope we stick with the 4, Rafferty out on that right-hand side, James on the left, and then, Baptiste and Adebayo is your back 2, or Baptiste and Lenny with Rafferty Marshall as captain. I'm happy with that personally. But like I say, I hope we just don't effectively shit the bed and go, Huddersfield are well up there, they're nearly in the playoffs. Let's go back to a 5 just to keep them out because sod's law, we won't and we'll lose, which we don't want to do.
Exactly. If we sit back, we're probably going to lose anyway. So what's the point in sitting back? We're not good enough to sit back and absorb pressure for 90 minutes. So why on earth would you do it? But there you go. Any other team news you want to talk about, Mick?
No, I'd like to see Lenny back in. I think he's been really good when he's come back in. I'd have him over Manny, to be perfectly honest, over Adebayo. Personally, my view. But we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we get Benson back. Hopefully we can get a little bit more out of Watmore as well in terms of time. Watch this space.
I think this is the last game we'll see management of Watmore. I think the game after this, because obviously we've got a free week, I think we'll then see Watmore used for longer, hopefully. His fitness levels I expect to see improving. Right, we're going to move on to predictions and like the other stuff. So please, first of all, make sure you've liked this video if you have enjoyed it and subscribe because the numbers keep shooting up and up and up on the subscriber count. So thank you very, 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 very much. Mick, score prediction. You went 3-0 on Tuesday.
Yeah, I did do that.
You got 0 right. So
0 right. I got half at score right. Don't lose 1-1.
All right, I'm sure. I'm going to go 2-0 defeat. I'm going for the points on the board. I'm going to 2-0 defeat. Danny.
I'm going to go for points on the board, but for Rotherham United. So I'm going to go off on a limb and say 1-0 win.
Like it. Paulo Rose says Nombe hat-trick 3-0. Scott Kent 3-1 to Huddersfield. YouTube says 1-2 to us. Rob Dixon says 4-0 battering. Steve Grundy 1-1. Harry says 2-1 to Huddersfield. Murray 1-0 to the Millers. Yeah, it's one of those games he's played since September, and you play out a narrow 1-0 loss, but putting performance, we can all accept it. We're not at that stage of the season anymore. You've got to perform and win. Backup John says 2-0 to Huddersfield. Phil says 3-0 loss. Brick Top goes for 0-1 on there as well. There we go. Dave Lawton says Huddersfield 2-0 as well. Right, let's have a quick chat on the playoff system because it will possibly impact Rotherham United in the season after next. Harry says, can we get a Mick rant on the 16 championship playoffs, please? So let's just briefly sum this up. Only the championship, because League One and League Two don't matter, only the championship is getting an adjustment to their playoff system from next season. 6-team playoffs. So I'm going to go 1 to 6. So the league positions change. But the team that finishes first in the playoff order and second in the playoff order will automatically go through to the semi-finals as is. That will continue as normal. The teams in third and fourth, fifth and sixth will then play what is a pre-semi-final, like a quarter-final, a one-layered quarter-final to go through to play the first and second place teams in the playoff system. Makes it more difficult for the third and fourth place teams, and it gives a better advantage to the teams in the top 2 playoff positions because they have one less game to play, so they have more rest time. Discuss, Mick.
Why?
It's fun.
I agree. Why?
Oh, you're so boring.
No. Look, it's money. It's just about money. That's all it's about. Please don't be under any illusion that it's about anything else other than money. That's all it is. Let them carry on. Let them do it. At some point, where we are now, will end up in championship playoffs as well. Just keep doing it. I don't know. It's just about money. It's about Sky getting some more important games in inverted commas.
It's 2 extra games. It's 2 extra.
Yeah, but it's the big games, aren't they? They can. Yeah, it's just about the money. That's all it's about.
What's the downside to it? Talk to me about the downside. I don't get the downside to it.
How? Well, let's think about what happens to teams that go up into the Premier League traditionally.
Well, look at Sunderland. Where did Sunderland finish last year? 5th. They're doing brilliantly.
Usually, there are the exceptions. Your Bournemouth, your Brentfords, Sunderland this year. Sheffield United's been stayed up and come back down again. They all come back down. So
did we. So did we in playoffs in League One.
So, at what point do we think that the team that finishes 8th in the Championship, just above halfway in Championship, and then goes on and wins playoffs, are going to survive in Premier League?
Yeah, but how often, to use that, how often does the team that finished 6th go up? Almost never. It's so rare that the 6th team go up anyway.
So let's add 2 more in that are not going to go up at all.
But it gives them an opportunity, it gives the chance, it adds jeopardy to the season, it adds 2 extra chances for winning something to get to a playoff and everything else. I think just because it weakens the league above, I think it's a weak argument.
I'm not arguing because I don't care.
But it will impact us. The idea is it will impact the year after. So I think the year after League One and League Two will take up the same thing, basically.
Yeah, it gives you another option, doesn't it? But it's money motivated, isn't it? It's just about money. Playoffs are money spinners, aren't they?
Well, they're great, though, aren't they? They're so much fun, playoffs.
Yeah,
they're great. They are box office.
As it stands at the moment, it's fantastic. Usually, but yeah, I'm with Mike. The team who finishes 8th, how do they deserve even a chance?
Use the American. You're obviously a big American football fan. To what level in the league does they get in the playoffs in America?
I've followed American football for I don't know how many years, and I haven't got a clue.
But it's still great, isn't it? It's still entertaining, isn't it? It's still great.
Yeah, it is. It is, but it's. I don't think it's comparable.
It's different. I accept that.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Not interested.
I don't see the downside. And I think I don't think just because it's different, like some people mentioned or whatever else the case may be, is I just think it's fun. I think it's great. I think it adds jeopardy. I agree with Darren McAnthy, and I hate saying that, but Darren McAnthy was spawned. What's wrong with it, Danny?
I agree with Mick that I think it is purely money based, but I don't think it's particularly in Sky's favour. I think it's more in the Premier League's favour, because you say odds are that teams finishing sixth basically never go up. But how many teams coming down from the Premier League have finished eight or higher the same when they've come down from the Premier League? So it just adds more security for the Premier League that the teams that have come down have a fairer chance of coming straight back up again, and so they protect their little club,
a little empire
in the Premier League. For me, this is another step on the road to the Premier League becoming a Super League and having no promotions or relegations, and it'll go back to the time
soon enough that.
Yeah, and it'll go back to the time where it was just the lone first division and you had to apply for re-election. Bear in mind, this was in the 1880s when this was happening, in the 1890s, and teams had to apply for election to the league to make it more interesting. You know, that's also the only reason Arsenal are in the Premier League, by the way, because they got elected into it rather than Barnsley after the First World War, I believe it was. So it's just another protection bracket for the Premier League and their teams. Funnily enough, it's coming at a time where there is a heavy risk of Tottenham getting relegated this season. That's quite funny. So if Tottenham do come down at the end of this season, odds are nailed on they will finish 8th or higher. And so they will have multiple chances to get back to the Premier League. They'll have 3 chances if they finish 8th to get into the Premier League, a team that gets relegated. That is just more protection. And it's unfair because it doesn't affect any other leagues other than the top of the EFL competing to get into the Premier League. Look at the National League. The National League has been stuck in that position, having one promotion spot and then the stupid quarter-final based playoff system for donkey's years. And they've only just started talking about maybe changing it to have 3 down, 3 up from League 2, where it's a shorter playoff but more automatic promotions. And then the Championship's just gone, we want to change this because we want more people competing for the Premier League. Yeah, good idea. Straight through, no objections whatsoever. It's just protecting money, but for different reasons. I don't think it's TV revenue based. It'll protect the Premier League. And the one negative repercussion I can see, Matt, is that Championship clubs will start spending even more money just to get 8th.
Good.
More Championship.
Let them get what they deserve. What's Sheffield Wednesday doing now? Let them. If they want to be stupid, yeah. But it also gives Millwall, for example, this season maybe a bad example. It gives Millwall a chance to get in playoffs. It gives Preston a chance to get in playoffs. Bristol City a chance to finally get in playoffs and have a bash at something special for their football club. That is so exciting to me. Wrexham's a bit of an anomaly. I accept that. But, look at the time when we went up when Warney had us 8th. I don't think we'd have stayed there. But if we'd have found ourselves in January 12th, 6 points off 8th place, knowing that 8th place gets you a place in the playoffs to go to Premier League. My God, how exciting is that? That's what football's all about. It's about those games at the end of the season. Of course, there is a money aspect to it. That's modern day life. That's just how life works. I don't think that's a negative particularly. I think it adds so much drama, so much extra drama that we sometimes miss towards the end of the season. Harry says Bristol. Bristol Rovers were in the playoffs last season. Yeah, absolutely. They were an example because they had missed out for years and years and years. I love it. Playoffs are the single best things ever happened to English football for me. I think they're beautiful. We've experienced that beauty as well as football fans. They're amazing.
We also experienced the first playoff loss in history to Swansea on penalties as well.
Yeah, the relegation playoffs didn't quite work to me. They don't work in the Bundesliga either. So I'm not a fan of relegation playoffs. I think there's too much bias towards the team in the higher league.
For me, just going back to the the argument for the jeopardy side of it, I think there's enough jeopardy between 3rd and 6th anyway. Because you normally see third is fighting for the promotion place playoffs. This is the stereotype. 3rd and maybe 4th, if it's a very tight league, are fighting for the top 2 promotion places, but they have the fallback of the playoffs. Fair enough. But then your teams 4th, 5th, and 6th 7th and 8th, as it stands normally now without the change, they are all in and around the playoffs, and we can see it drastically change. And that's the drama. I can't remember which team it was, but I think they were safe in the playoffs, and they went on an horrific run until the end of the season. On the final day, they dropped out of the playoffs.
Blackburn, something like
that. It could have been Blackburn. Yeah, I think there needed to be a 6-goal swing or something stupid, and it happened. Again, that's the exception to the rule, but I don't see how it adds more entertainment having 7th and 8th, because it's nailed on that 7th and 8th will be the first ones to go out, and it'll be a fight between 3rd, 4th, or 5th in the final. Like I said, six never goes through. So why have 6 places? Why not have 4? Why not have just a lone playoff final?
Because it gives you that joy. It gives you that drama. Football is a stupid sport where stupid things happen all the time. I want more of that. I want more of stupid football. I want more dramatic football. That's what I watch football for. I agree. I accept that everybody's not going to see my point of view, but more exciting football cannot be a bad thing. I don't see how it is. Anyway, I think it's just good for you as a fan because you have more chance of promotion as well. Which again, we're all in this game to see our team succeed. We're not going to agree, but you're all wrong. So let's move on. Anything else we want to talk about before we jack it in?
I don't think so.
No, all good.
Good, because we managed to get an hour out of that game on Tuesday, sort of, which I'm quite proud of. Thank you all for being with us. We shall be back on Saturday at some point, because there will be an instant reaction after the Huddersfield game. Don't know who's on that. Mick's birthday this weekend, so we're probably going to give Mick the time off if we can get somebody else to go and do it with us. Happy birthday, Mick. 21 again?
Yes, again.
Yeah.
And here I shall remain.
Happy birthday for tomorrow, Mick.
Yes,
on Saturday is Martin Coy. He refereed us against Exeter when we drew last year. I think that was under Evans, I think. The main one I can think that he refereed us was the Doncaster game where he sent Mikel Miller off for 2 yellow cards. Correctly sent Mikel Miller off for 2 yellow cards. Let's see. Make sure you've liked this episode if you have liked it. If you haven't liked it, like it anyway. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. If you listen to iTunes, Spotify, follow, subscribe, whatever your subscriber account thing allows you to do. If you make sure to follow us on X, Facebook, and all that nonsense. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, everyone in the comments. It's been a pleasure having you with us. We will see you all next time. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Comes for more. 2 for Jensen, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots. Ravel. Vicious, but brilliant. The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United. Woods got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly.
Do me a favour, drop me off